What time is it at?
It starts at 6, but my plan was to get there by maybe 6:30.
Maybe.
No, because finance is the second thing.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah. So maybe, you give me like 2 seconds, you can
Yep.
start it. You can start it.
Yep. Just a second, I'm gonna open my mouse up, my file open. I'm gonna open my file open, yeah, right. Okay. Okay. The time is now 5:01, and I'm calling this budget hearing for the Law Department to order. For the record, council members present are Judy Priestley, 4th Ward, and Candace Mashat, 7th Ward. If you have a presentation, go right ahead.
Good evening, council members. So, of course, this is the Law Department, and we do have a presentation for you to give you a synopsis of the department and maybe provide some new information for you. I am joined here by Tom Sparrow to my left, who's a senior attorney, and to my right, Chief Deputy City Attorney Joe Cups, and I am Joanne Gurley, City Attorney. So, next slide. In the Law Department, Section 4604 of the Flint City Charter charges the Law Department with the following duties. We defend the city and initiate legal actions. We prosecute city ordinances. We also enforce city ordinances. We draft and review all legal documents. That includes resolutions, contracts, ordinances. And we advise both the executive and legislative branches. And to the right, you will see what our fiscal year for 26, 27, and 28 are, and as projected. Next slide. The Law Department operation, as I stated, we represent the interests of the city. We are here to protect the city's assets, which in turn stabilizes the community and moves the community forward. We represent elected and appointed officials, employees, boards, commissions, volunteers. Right now, we have 4 active boards and commissions. That includes the Planning Commission, Historic District Commission, the Ethics and Accountability Board, the Zoning Board of Appeals, and at some point, Human Relations Commission may come online. And when we talk about all the departments and divisions that the Law Department assists, there are more than 27 of those. That includes Police and Fire, Planning and Development, Fleet, Treasury, the list goes on. In the department currently, we have 5 licensed attorneys, which include myself and the 2 other attorneys that I introduced earlier. We also have an assistant city attorney, Danielle Darrow, and we have another assistant city attorney, Glenn Steffens. Currently, we have 3 attorney vacancies in the department. We do have 2 paralegals, Vicki Cooper and Leslie Liggins. Next slide. So when we looked at the department and the things that we want to accomplish, I looked at what could we get done for fiscal year 27. Naturally, we'd like to hire those 3 attorneys. We're also engaging the various departments on vendor compliance. We started this last year, and vendor compliance is making sure that all the vendors who do business with the city are in good standing with the city, which means they don't owe, or I should state, in default to the city for any fees, taxes, things of that nature. We have also been working with the city clerk very closely on getting the code of city ordinances codified, and we are in the home stretch for that. And that was a massive project, so we'd like to thank the clerk for assisting and being a great resource to us. And then lastly, we were looking at all the legal documents that we currently have in the department that preferably should be scanned so that we'd have readily access to those documents. So that will be a major project, and we have not started taking into account the cost of that, but we know that eventually that will have to be done. Next slide. So now, as you know, we have several divisions in the law department. We have civil and criminal. And so Joe Cupps, the Chief Deputy City Attorney, will talk about civil litigation for the department.
Thank you. So as Ms. Gurley indicated earlier, one of the duties of the law department is to represent the city and its interests in any civil litigation that's filed against it. That can take a number of forms. Sometimes it's the city itself that is a defendant. Sometimes it's police officers or firefighters. Sometimes it's employees of the city or elected officials. So the law department is tasked with representing all of those various interests. Currently, we are defending more than 36 civil litigation matters in which one of those or more than one of those parties are a defendant. Civil litigation takes a number of forms. Sometimes the city or its agents are sued for an employment-related type matter. Sometimes it's related to a sidewalk or highway defect where an individual claims that they were injured because of a defect in a road or a public sidewalk. Sometimes it's related to a city vehicle when a city vehicle is claimed to have caused an accident. Sometimes it's related to police officers in the conduct of their business, and an individual claims that an officer used excessive force in effectuating an arrest. Sometimes it's a reversed conviction. Sometimes the city is sued because an individual claims a violation under the Freedom of Information Act or the Open Meetings Act. And those are just some of the major categories, but there are even more types besides that. These civil litigation matters are filed in state court, in Michigan court, the 7th Circuit Court, right across the street from City Hall. And sometimes they're filed in federal court, in the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Michigan. When these cases are filed against the city or its agents, approximately half of them are currently assigned to outside counsel to defend the city, and the other half are handled by one of the attorneys that Ms. Gurley previously indicated. In addition to those types of civil cases, the city also represents the assessor, Stacy Bassey, in the tax tribunal. When an individual property owner believes that the valuation set by the city is not accurate, they can file a claim in the Michigan Tax Tribunal, and the city defends the valuation there. In addition to those types, there's also claims that are either filed with the Equal Opportunity Commission or the Michigan Department of Civil Rights, and the law department in those cases will also defend the city and represent its interests. Next slide, please. I've highlighted just a few of the key victories secured by the law department in civil litigation matters in the last fiscal year. The first one on there is the case of Cameron versus a former Flint Police Department officer. The initial demands made by plaintiff in that case were in the low 8 figures, and that case was successfully resolved with a judgment of approximately 1/10 of those original demands. The second one you'll see on there is the case of Bowman versus 2 Flint Police Department officers. The original demands in that case were in the neighborhood of the high 6 figures, and again, that was successfully defended by outside counsel with a judgment that was less than half of those original demands. In addition to those 2 specific cases, the city also secured successful resolutions on a number of other civil matters by motion, including several nuisance vehicle forfeitures that you'll hear Mr. Sparrow talk about. Next slide, please.
I'm not using internet right now either. Okay, go ahead.
So, as you can tell, we do a lot in the law department. Sometimes it's very difficult for other departments to realize the types of cases that we get, the types of matters that we handle. And amongst us here, we have at least 50 years worth collectively of legal experience. So if we don't have the answer, we know where to get it. And that leads me to Tom Sparrow, who knows how to get information as it relates to the district court operations. Tom.
Thank you. Good late afternoon or good evening, ladies. Again, my name's Tom Sparrow. Part of my job duties with the city are to really run the district court operations. As you can see from the slide, the number of cases we've prosecuted over last year is up 16%. I think that's attributable to the police have become more efficient and are really doing their job better and are issuing more tickets, so good job to Chief Green. I just broke down on the slide there the types of tickets. There's ordinance traffic tickets, that's driving while license suspended, leaving the scene of an accident. There are drunk driving cases we prosecute. The numbers up here, next slide please, do not include literally thousands of tickets that the PD writes. Those include like just your standard speeding tickets, disobey a traffic signal or things like that. At the district court, we also prosecute what are called ON, ordinance nuisance cases. These are mostly from the Building Safety and Inspection Division at the city. They go out, inspect properties, issue citations, and then they bring them to us, and we try to enforce them in the district court. The enforcement mechanisms are, sometimes it's a fine, sometimes, or a lot of the times, we'll get the people to repair their property and we'll dismiss the ticket. On some occasions, we get orders to evict the residents and board the properties up. Next slide, please. And this is just a sample of one that we did last year for a property at 5709 Glen Avenue. This is what the order looks like. We get an order, we get the judge to sign it that says allowing us to demolish the dwelling located at this address. This was actually a fire withholding case. That's another type of case we do. The state of Michigan has the fire insurance withholding program. The city has a significant fund, and we are still working towards getting a process together whereby BSI goes out and tickets the property, our office gets the order allowing us to demolish it, and then we use the money we received from the insurance company to tear the home down and get the property back to really just a vacant lot. In addition to that, we also there's a significant amount of forfeiture work going on. Again, the PD, pursuant to a grant I believe they got early in 2025, they have significantly increased the number of vehicle forfeitures they are seizing pursuant to the drug laws of the state of Michigan. And so there's a significant amount of work involved in those cases where the defendants contest the forfeiture, and really the forfeiture case is separate from the criminal case, where the Genesee County Prosecutor's Office will prosecute the felony drug crime for whatever it is, possession of a narcotic or something like that. It falls on our office to, if in fact the police have seized the vehicle, to go forward with the forfeiture. And so we're doing that, and we're also doing, and just the next slide, please, just one example of the forfeitures we were successful at with last year. This is the new Ashley Capitol building on the slide there. This is a blue 2018 Dodge Charger that was owned by an individual in the city, and a whole bunch of individuals, go to the next slide, were out there, including these two vehicles, just doing donuts to their heart's content on the brand new black pavement at Ashley Capitol. Based on some good police work, we were able to file a forfeiture action. We got the light blue car because there was no lien on it. This car, we were able to force the owner to return it to to the company that had the lien on the vehicle with an agreement that the lien holder would not sell it back to them. But so in other words, to make a long story short, we've got at least two vehicles off the streets, and if you can turn to the next slide, and you can see the damage they did to this property. This was a brand-new building. I worked pretty closely with the vice president of the company, and they wanted something done. I mean, how can you bring businesses into Flint when this is what's going to happen? So I think they were pretty happy that the vehicles were seized and were forfeited, and I think it sends a message to the members of the community that you have just cannot act like this in Flint. But that's basically my little spiel, and if you have any questions, I'd be very happy to answer them.
Thank you. So as stated earlier, we also assist with the Blight Department, and Joe will talk to you about our Administrative Bureau, Hearings Bureau.
So one of the items that the Law Department assists with is the Administrative Hearings Bureau, also colloquially called Blight Court. Blight Court is overseen by two Blight Court judges, and the Law Department provides one or more attorneys to essentially prosecute the tickets that are written by the NSO officers. The Blight Court, we went over it a little bit at last year's budget hearing, but it's essentially a new creation of the city. It was established, I believe, in 2023, and it provides a mechanism for enforcing those blight tickets written by the NSOs and ensuring that the cleanup work is actually performed. Next slide, please. The Law Department, as Ms. Gurley indicated at the beginning of our presentation, also provides representation to all of the various departments within the city. I've listed a few of the bigger ones that we provide legal assistance to: the Department of Public Works, the Assessor's Office, Finance, Purchasing, which is part of Finance, Human Resources, Information Technology, Fleet, along with all of the other departments. We assist them with whatever comes up in their daily work. We help them with drafting of contracts and then ultimately reviewing those contracts and approving them as to form, and any other type of legal issue that they might encounter in the operation of their departments. And then you'll also see on that slide, in addition, the attorneys and paralegals within the Law Department attend a variety of training events throughout the year on different topics, just general municipal issues, what's called Section 1983 litigation, that's a specific area of federal law that applies to the police department, civil evidence law, human resources issues, technical training for the various cloud-based computing systems we use, etc. Next slide, please.
Guess that's me. So we also handle Freedom of Information Act requests, FOIAs as they're commonly known. So for last year, we answered or received 2,904 FOIA requests, which is a big number. And so at this point, year to date, we're at 884 FOIA requests. So that takes a lot of time, making sure that the departments are fulfilling those requests in a timely manner under the statute, and then making sure that we receive payment from the requester in accordance with the statute as well. So it does not go without saying that all of the attorneys and the paralegals in the law department are committed to public service. They show that each and every day that they show up for work. We have a variety of issues that could come up at any given point. Every day is a new day. And I would like to thank each of them for serving the city in the capacity that they do. They do it willingly, and it's very hard work. It is very difficult to get individuals who could make a lot more money in private sector to work for any municipality. And so for these individuals to show up day in and day out and put in their best efforts every day, I have to commend them. And so the staff in the law department are invaluable to the city, and they are very committed. So with that, that's the end of our presentation. We welcome any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much. I'm going to just say personally that anytime I have met with any of the attorneys, I've gotten wonderful information, and I really appreciate every minute that they devote to my questions and my assistance. Ms. Mashat, if you'd like to begin.
I'd like.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your time, and thank you for the presentation. How has the department's workload changed compared to last year?
Could you repeat your question? I just heard part of it, I'm sorry.
How has the department's workload changed compared to last year?
Last year, there was a lot of right sizing, I would say. We were just trying to figure out how to make the department run smoothly, and we still have some ways to go, but we were looking at still hiring vacant positions. We also were looking at different types of software to make the department more efficient. And I think that we've pretty much done that. So now we're just trying to hire additional staff members so that none of the attorneys are overloaded with an abundance of cases, which we're at that point at this juncture.
Thank you. And I will say, Mr. Moore, for the law department, this is probably a little too bare bones for my liking. So you all have to forgive me if I ask some things that probably should be obvious or that we can see, but how much spending on outside counsel versus in-house attorneys? How much spending are we doing with outside counsel? And are we doing more spending with outside counsel than we are with inside counsel? If so, why?
And where are those charges? Because I don't see
Yeah, they're
anything
not here.
No. Are they in the Suits and Settlements Fund that we don't see a record of?
G, can you make a note that we get that?
Yeah.
We can get you, that's an easy number to get. We can get you that.
So we don't have it right now?
No.
Are they being paid out of the Suits and Settlement?
Yes.
Okay. Come on.
I think the question that you asked also was whether we're spending more on outside counsel than in-house counsel. From the last numbers that I looked at, they are pretty neck and neck. There may be approximately $100,000 difference, and that is because we have some very
When you say, I'm sorry, when you say $100,000 difference, do you mean $100,000 more toward outside counsel?
Yes. Well, no, actually for in-house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had some very costly cases that really drove up outside legal expenses. So with the onset of having additional attorneys, we hope to have that number reduced. But there will always be a need for outside counsel. It's just the nature of law departments. You know, we have a number of expertise in certain areas, but some are so very time-consuming that we would have to enlist outside counsel.
I am glad you used the word reduced, because my next question is, what steps are being taken to reduce legal expenses over time?
Hiring additional attorneys,
And at the top of your presentation, I think you said you were looking to hire, did I see 2 more or?
3.
3 more
Yes.
attorneys. Okay, and that will bring us to a total of 8 if that is done?
Correct.
Does that include you?
It does.
Okay.
And when we're looking for attorneys, is it that we're looking for, obviously I would hope, those with municipal experience? And please forgive me because I'm trying to figure out how to ask this question. Are we looking for attorneys with specialties, or is it just overall municipal experience when we're looking for new attorneys? What are we looking for?
Well, we have several levels of attorneys that we engage with. So we have a legal fellow who is someone who just graduated from law school and may be waiting to take the bar or has taken the bar and is awaiting their results. That's one of the lower level positions that we have. They often are very good with research, willing to learn, so that's our entry level. And we recently added an associate attorney because we understand that there are some attorneys who have experience that's a little bit higher than a legal fellow, but not necessarily able to take on trials and things of that nature. So the next level will be, after that, would be an assistant city attorney, and that's someone with at least a year's experience. They're licensed to practice in the state of Michigan.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Can you?
An assistant city attorney, that's someone who is licensed to practice in the state of Michigan for at least a year. And then there's the senior assistant city attorney, which must have like at least 3 years of experience. So often we don't necessarily look, it'd be nice to find someone who has municipal experience, but often those are very difficult to find. But if they have state and federal court experience, that's really valuable to us.
Thank you very much. And so in those 3 attorneys that we're looking to hire, would one of them be the research? No, I know I'm not repeating you correctly, but would one of them be the fellow that you're looking for, or is it just we're looking for 3 senior level?
At least one will be a fellow.
Okay. Thank
It-
you.
Yes.
And I believe the fellows usually work down at district court with you, Mr. Sparrow? Sure. That's what I thought. So they gain valuable experience, and that's an opportunity that would be really beneficial to a new aspiring attorney, graduating attorney.
Other than hiring more attorneys, are there any more steps that we can take to reduce legal expenses over time? The council not be suable?
Having one attorney firm be gone, is that help?
Right.
So to reduce outside legal expenses or legal expenses overall, I really don't know, because at this juncture, we're getting cases pretty frequently. And because we represent so many facets of the city, that's to be expected. So there really is not a way to reduce that, other than, I will say this, is that if a lawsuit is filed against the city, we are going to vigorously defend the city. So whatever we need to do, we will do. Whatever resources we need to hire, we will do that, because we cannot have individuals thinking that the city is a payday for them.
Absolutely.
It's true.
Do we have the total cost of settlements and judgments for the past 3 to 5 years?
Again, that's a number we keep on hand, but we can get that to you tomorrow. It's fairly easy to get.
Okay, thank you. Judith,
Yes.
thank you.
The last 3 years?
Yeah, that
There's
should be
5
fine.
here.
That
Okay.
should be fine.
Okay.
So what are the metrics used to evaluate the department's performance?
Well, each week we do have a staff meeting, and we go over our cases. We also have strategy meetings during the week, and there's just constant communication. We're going to get onto the path where there will be performance reviews, maybe by the end of this year, beginning of next year, But right now, I think it's more important for us to continue to be in communication within the department, figure out, you know, who's overloaded, who needs assistance. So that's basically how we're evaluating performance. And pretty much, you know, just from working with the individuals in our department, you know, who has an expertise in certain levels. And so we really rely on those individuals for certain things, and then we, you know, want to support those who are also trying to learn new types of law that we deal with. And it's interesting because last week I had something that I had not had to deal with before, and it involved, we were working on lead pipe replacements, and we got a call from one of the departments about they believed that they may have been on tribal land. And so with tribal land, we have to stop. We have to make sure that there are no remains being unearthed, and then trying to figure out which tribe would be the contact person. Took many hours, let me just say that. And so we finally were able to get somewhat of a resolution to where we will be able to continue the lead pipe replacement project, hopefully later this week.
Okay, and I think that my next question was answered just a bit inside of your response to that one, but how do you determine whether using outside counsel is cost effective?
It really depends on the case, and so we have such a good relationship with our outside counsel. We know which ones are really able to support certain cases, and so that's how those cases are assigned. Preferably, you know, we look in-house to see if those are cases that we can take. Do we have the capacity to do that? And if we don't, then we send it out to outside counsel. But it's more of an evaluation as to whether we can handle it in-house or do we need to send it out. But
Okay.
it's not an automatic thing.
All right, and can you provide examples of cost saving or successful outcomes?
Well, I'm gonna let Joe talk about the Bowman case as one example.
Okay.
Yeah, I think as I mentioned a little bit earlier, those two cases, the Bowman case and the Cameron case, in the Bowman case specifically, that's one that I helped to oversee. It was primarily handled by outside counsel where I represented the city, though, and the original demands in that case were in the high six figures. And the city aggressively defended that case, took it to a jury verdict, which was significantly less than those original demands. So we did see, we achieved a couple things with that case. We achieved savings in terms of real dollars for the city, but as Ms. Gurley indicated earlier, we also conveyed the message that the city is not willing to simply pay a judgment because someone's asking for that. The city is going to vigorously defend it, investigate the facts, apply those facts to the law of Michigan, and vigorously defend the case and represent the city.
Thank you. With the 5 attorneys that we currently have, what would be the average caseload for each attorney?
It really does depend. And again, when we talk about expertise, some attorneys have more caseload than others because we may get certain cases in an area of law that they are familiar with. So there's not a set amount at this juncture. It really depends, but I can tell you that if you're speaking of caseload with just lawsuits, that's different than us dealing with the client departments, because every day we must deal with the client departments. They may have issues, contracts, resolutions, you know, things out of the ordinary that they need advisement on. So we do spend a lot of time with our client departments and making sure that they have the information that they need to make good decisions, and then also making sure that they're in compliance, that their vendors are in compliance. So the caseload would include the client departments and the boards and commissions too.
Okay, thank you.
let's go
Earlier
ahead
in your
and-
presentation,
and
I'm sorry.
Let's, just a second, last question, and then we'll let Mr. Jarrett take time.
Earlier in the presentation, you talked a little bit about doing some codification as well as some scanning. Are there any investments in technology or case management systems to improve efficiency?
Yes, we employ software services for our FOIA requests because we get so many. We have a system that helps things be automated. We also have a case management system called FileVine that we're using that's helping us track civil litigation. And then we're also just looking at our subscriptions for research that we also use to help us be more efficient as well.
Thank you. Mr. Moore, where is that represented here in this budget?
Where's
The software that she just
the
discussed?
software? It probably is in, it could be in the IT department, or they maybe have it, I'm pretty sure it's in the IT department,
So it's not represented in this budget?
right.
I yield, Madam Chair.
Okay, go ahead, Jonathan, if you'd like to take some time.
Good evening, all. Just a few questions for clarity with regard to the outside counsel. I heard some of the discussion on the way here, and I understand that Mr. Moore is going to be getting numbers to us as it relates to how much has been expended with outside counsel, if I understood some of that questioning correctly. My question is, when we are giving consideration to bringing on outside counsel, what's the process? Or I heard Attorney Gurley, you make mention to understanding some of their strengths. Is it based on the strengths of a particular firm, or is there some kind of almost like purchasing bid process? How does that work?
The firms that we currently work with have longevity with the city. There are instances where other attorneys may be brought on from outside counsel. For example, there was litigation last fiscal year where the legislative body members were being sued, and we were able to get better rates with an attorney who had worked with the legislative body previously, so we were able to employ them. But there are several firms that just have longevity with the city who have given us excellent rates and have worked really good with the law department over the years.
So are the rates set, or are they determined based on each case may be separate, different? The merits of a case, per se.
Right, the rates are set, and they charge us excellent rates. They're not charging us market value by any stretch of the imagination. I'm glad they're not. But if they were, it would be a major expense for the law department.
Okay. I think based on sort of what I've heard and some of the questions already posed, that's what was outstanding for me at this time. I yield.
Okay. So I think our biggest question has been always for the law department is the outside attorneys and how much. Now, we also know that they have expertise that we don't, and they have more time and more attorneys than we have. So I went through the rest of your budget for the general fund, and then you have $10,000 here for equipment. What is the plan for that?
We just have like small things in the department that we would like to have. For example, part of the law department has new carpet, the other part does not, so we'd like to complete that. We do have a very small kitchen area. We'd like to add running water there. And then we may have a couple of offices that may need desks.
Just some remodeling kind of expenses?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and then, for the current fiscal year, and I know that, first of all, I'm gonna preface this by our fiscal year 26 adopted budget was crazy. So let me know if this is part of the crazy part, is that we have $22,000 for the current fiscal year for professional dues and publications, but in fiscal year 27, only $12,000. Is it, and how, do we know how much has been spent to date? You want the account number?
If it's professional dues and publications, we've actually spent $18,126.
Okay, so is the $12,000 going to be adequate that's budgeted if we've already spent 18? Or is that for multiple years?
That may need to be increased depending on if we are able to hire the 3 attorneys. Because with professional dues, that would be our state bar dues that are due annually in October. And it could also be like our Genesee County Bar Association dues, which if we hire additional attorneys, they have to be a member of that organization. And then we have other professional organizations that we are members of. So that most likely would increase if we are able to secure additional attorneys.
Okay. That seemed like it was out of line compared to previous year. That's good to know. And that was all the questions I have. Does anyone else have any others? Candace? Did I have to ask?
Answer is not always yes. No, actually, I just need those numbers from Mr. Moore because I think that.
So what I've
I
got
asked.
down to request from Mr. Moore.
Yeah.
How much is spent on outside counsel for fiscal year 25 and 26, and the total amount of judgments for the last 3 years by years. And I think we need to have an accounting of the suits and settlements fund.
Mm-hmm.
So, we need so we'll need to do that too.
Okay.
All right. Jonathan, did you have anything more?
Just one, I guess, question for clarification for myself. Have been spoken to already. The law library, what is that? Because there was a jump from the $600 to $39,006, and then it was carried forward for the. It's just above the printing and publishing. 39,600.
Yes, so for the library, we do purchase books. We also, I believe that's where a lot of our software would come out of that department as well, that line item.
Okay.
So that would be like our ICLE, which is Michigan's continuing education, research subscription, and then our Westlaw subscription.
So those are like subscriptions that'll be due annually and not just a single purchase or a one-time purchase?
Correct. Those subscriptions are annual, monthly, and then our books, it just depends on when we need new editions.
And also, what do rentals look like for the law department? What does that look like?
We're trying to figure that out, but I think because we do have a space over in the district court, at some point, we're gonna have to start paying for our space there, and it's like $750 approximately a month. That will get us started. So I'm believing that that's what the $3,000 for rentals would be.
Okay. And I think I heard that there are some positions that you all are looking to fill. Having that FTE on board, is that what's represented here by way of wages, or will there need to be a change to the wages line? Is this projected fully staffed, or as you currently sit with staffing? This 940.
I would think that that would need to be increased.
She's right.
Okay. So we're looking at fully staffed and increased to what? What do we project those salary types to be? I know I believe I heard that there were different levels and positions that were to be filled. But how do you project that to affect the budget?
Based on the number of attorneys that we are looking to hire, it will probably be another increase of between $350,000 and maybe $400,000.
Jonathan, I put a request saying need fully staffed wages and fringes cost on our list.
Okay.
So that will be requested of Mr. Moore right after this meeting.
Okay. And that's gonna include all of the fringes, so,
Yep.
okay. Almost half of the appropriations part, so those numbers will be changed.
Correct.
Okay. All right, I yield.
Okay. Ms. Mashat, you said you had another question?
Yes, just a little bit more about, and I know it's not called Blight Court, but just a little bit more about Blight Court. Attorney Cups, could you explain that process once again?
So generally what happens is when the NSOs write some type of a blight ticket, a copy of that ticket goes to the blight department down in the basement of City Hall. And then the resident who received the blight ticket either pays or they challenge the issuance of the ticket. If they challenge the issuance of the ticket, then it goes to the blight court for setting of a hearing and a determination. One of the two blight court judges that works for the blight court will preside over that hearing, and it's an opportunity for the resident to explain why they should not be held responsible for the ticket and the fine that goes with it. And then the attorney from the law department who's assigned to blight court will work with the NSO who issued the ticket and defend the issuance of that ticket, and then ultimately the decision is up to the blight court judge as to whether the resident, homeowner, business owner should be responsible for payment of the fine or whether it's not proper.
Okay, thank you. And then I have another question, and it's probably, Attorney Gurley, you'll probably be able to answer. So there's an ordinance that we have. Yeah, you know where I'm going with this. And it's been on the books, and we have not been enforcing it. So last year, I asked for that ordinance to be enforced. Our city clerk did post the notices that she was supposed to post. And then when it came time to enforce the ordinance, it seems like
one was it?
there was pushback from the law department, and then the reason that we were given is it actually wasn't even a good reason for why we're not enforcing the ordinance, and that's the ordinance that states that in April the city clerk is supposed to post twice about the new, well, and I guess I'm going to say May through October. Way that we will handle blight, so like vegetation, lawns, and all of that. And May through October, it changes the amount of time that residents have from the time that they are notified to the time that they actually have to remediate the yard concern. And so for some reason, there was a lot of pushback from the legal department about actually following through on that ordinance. And like I said, us having home rule has nothing to do with that ordinance. And so I'm just curious as to, and I'm going to have the clerk go ahead and post so that we can follow through with that ordinance, but I'm curious as to why we were not following the ordinance last year.
I'm not certain,
Okay.
but we are following this year.
Okay.
I worked with the clerk, and the postings were done in April.
Perfect, okay.
Yep, so that it was supposed to be published twice.
Mm-hmm,
And
yes.
it was published twice this year in April.
It was published twice this year in April, and so
Correct.
we will be observing the May through, and I believe it was October, might have been
Yes.
September, May through September ordinance that is in place when we talk about
Noxious weeds.
lawn maintenance. There we go, yes. Perfect, thank you. I think we'll need to make that announcement public, Judy, so that,
Yes,
yeah.
we
Thank
will.
you so much, Attorney Gurley. I yield.
You're welcome.
Thank you. We'll need the ordinance number so that we can make sure we can post it. Oh, I'm sure you do. All right, you're all, go ahead.
I just had a
Go ahead.
question along the lines of ordinance enforcement and even with blight court. How is it the legal department, or what department then would be responsible for collection of those assessed fees and penalties?
For blight,
For blight, and as far as even our ordinances go. But we can start with blight, because I think those are two different things, I understand.
sure. So for blight, they can pay in the treasury, and I think they can also pay online if they are admitting responsibility. We did have an amnesty program last fall, so that people were getting discounts on paying their fines within a certain amount of time. We were trying to make sure we can clear as many tickets off the book as possible. But yeah, so for blight, they can pay, I believe, online and then in treasury.
And maybe I didn't, or maybe let me ask a follow-up question. As far as collection beyond, I'm reaching towards the Treasury Department to pay, and this penalty has been outstanding for some time. How do we go about collection I don't want to say necessarily enforce our collection, but how is that done? Or is it done? Can it be done? How do we go about doing it?
It can be done. Treasury has a collection company that it uses for certain fees that need to be collected that are outstanding. And then, of course, there's the amnesty program that I mentioned that may come online again this year, but the Treasury would oversee collections.
Thank you.
Where would those blight fees be in the general fund? Are they? Yes. Okay, whereabouts? What department, do we know?
I don't know the account number. You should just,
Okay, just what department is all? I don't care about the account number, just department,
probably just under general for 000.
just general, like where all the revenues are and. Okay, all right. Any other questions? If not, thank you appreciate your professionalism and your assisting the city and myself when needed.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll reconvene at 6 o'clock. It is now 6:04, and I'm going to call the budget hearing for finance and its related departments to order. For the record, members present are Judy Priestley, 4th Ward, Candace Mashat, 7th Ward, and Jonathan Jarrett, 9th Ward. Do you guys have a presentation or no?
A short one, yes.
Okay.
Okay, the finance department covers a lot of different areas. The first was is the traditional finance department, which includes accounting, payroll, grant accounting, risk management, and the budget. We also have purchasing, which does all the bidding and contracts for the city. Assessing we assess real and personal property. We have over 57,000 parcels that they review every single year. The treasury operations includes the customer service, banking, income tax management, investing, and all collections. IT includes computer and communications. There are there are hundreds of devices out there, and we have numerous software packages that they manage and make sure it stays up and running for our users. Fleet services, we have, again, hundreds of pieces of equipment and vehicles that they maintain and keep operational. And finally, we have facilities management. We have a very small staff for a very large campus. We have large buildings, we have large facilities, and just a few people that have to take care of all of it. In the upcoming year, our first goal is something that the City Council established as a goal in 2023, which is to change our income tax collection to the state of Michigan in January. That we will begin with using the state of Michigan for collecting our income tax. We're also looking to upgrade BS&A. That's something the City Council approved this year. About a year from now is when we plan to go live. That will be a major undertaking. It's a very big project. It will take us the year to get to that point. The police and fire departments have been working very hard to get a training center. In the upcoming year, the activity will be taking place by our facilities maintenance people. We have excellent fire chief, excellent police chief, but when it comes to taking care of contracts for building construction, Lee's the man that you want to talk to. We're also looking at upgrading our investment policy, which means that as part of that, we want to have better investment tracking software and reporting software. And we've actually have been talking to the state of Michigan, and there's a good chance that they will contribute towards the cause to help us get that software. As part of this, we were also planning to automate our cash management software, which will give us some real-time access to our cash position, which should facilitate and improve our cash forecasting. We're also looking to make our grant management software fully operational. That should happen later this week. This has been a project we've been working on for about 2 years. It's been a major project. We have had pieces of it operational, but it should be fully operational, fully integrated with BS&A at the end of this week. We've been working with personnel to install the UKG time management software. We're still in the process of trying to get that connected to BS&A. That's a big project by itself. We also envision spending a lot of time working with the Public Works Department, water, sewer, streets, to assist them with their asset management plans. They can take it so far, but at some point they have to come to the finance department to look at the affordability and what can we afford to do. We're also, and this goes to a point that Jonathan was talking about earlier, our cash operations. It's time that we look at all our cash operations to make sure that we update all our procedures and make sure that we're using the best possible internal controls, make sure we have the best policies in place, and make sure that we collect as much of the dollars as we can for the city. We're also looking to develop more long-term budget plans and forecasts for the city. If you're trying to achieve big goals for the city, you need to know what the long-term forecast is going to be. I know that a number of you know Eric Scarsone. We've hired him, and he's working with us to help develop some plans for the long-term budgets and forecasts. So it's going to be a busy year next year, and with that, I'll welcome questions.
Okay, thank you. Do you want to start in order as to our packet? Oh, yeah. Okay, so the first up is facilities.
Lee?
Sure, absolutely.
Mr. Moore, you mentioned investments.
Yes.
Can you shed some light on what that means? I'm having a hard time seeing that.
The city of Flint has millions of dollars of cash that we need to invest. We need to, under state law, we need to have an investment policy, and we do have one. But it's been several years since we have updated the investment policy. We also need to look at how we're investing it. We'd like to, it's my belief that if we were to track it better, or have better software to track it, we could invest it in a more fiscally sound fashion that would be safer for the city, but would also produce a higher yield for the city.
When you say investment policy, you mean the standard with which we invest?
That's
Okay.
correct.
And I want to make sure I understood that. So approximately how much do we have in that cash position that we are investing?
We have over $100 million that we invest on any given day, so we have a lot of money.
So is this a, when you say $100 million, are you talking about our total cash position?
Across
or
all
are you
funds.
talking about?
Across all funds.
Okay.
And because it's in many different funds, it becomes a very complex problem, because some funds you cannot mix with others. For example, we've often heard about the fire escrow fund. Well, those funds have to be kept separate.
Mm-hmm.
Other funds, they can be managed with other, the general fund can be managed with a major and local street fund without a problem. But there's some funds that have to be kept separate. Well, all of that requires a more sophisticated investment tracking system than we currently have for the city.
Okay. And is that software then?
That's software, and I think we've identified a good software that will do that. I've talked to the Department of Treasury, and Eric has talked to Treasury, and they're fully on board, and they've expressed an interest in wanting to assist us with this.
And then the policy itself, is that something that's going to have to come before this body for approval, or
Yes.
is that something that's done separate?
It's something that needs to come before the city council. And we have a team in the finance department that's looking at our current policy, and we'd like to update it to the current standards for how things should be managed. There have been a couple law changes that need to be incorporated into our investment policy, and that all needs to come before the city council to be approved.
How long do you project before we see that policy presented?
My goal is to get to the city council probably in July.
Thank you. I yield.
Jonathan, there is a state law that requires the city to report to us quarterly, isn't it?
Yeah, it does.
On the
and
investment, but we've had
it's-
it issued.
And we should. I'm fully behind that. It's just that we don't really have the capacity right now, the way we're set up, but we will. And
With this new software.
right, and there are different ways that you need to track the software. Like, you need to make sure that it's diversified according to your policy. You need to make sure that you report it by the different funds. There are different things that the way we should be able to report it, and we just can't do that right now.
Right. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that Mr. Jarrett knew that, as well as any other council members, that I have been following up on that
Yeah.
with you and trying to get that report. Okay. Go ahead. I don't think we've ever been in compliance. I can't answer that for sure, because all I know is that there doesn't appear to be any following that. We learned about that in our class that we had this fall. So, okay, go ahead, lead. Yes. You're up.
Okay,
I don't believe Lee has a presentation. He's
No,
ready
but
to.
No.
he gave us this.
yeah.
So you want to give us a brief overview?
Well, that's got my employees on it. I have 6 right now. Another one is posted for the employees. So we got 4 janitorial, 1 maintenance, and myself right now.
Just as a matter of comparison, I had a larger staff when I worked for the city of Alma than we have here.
So your department is responsible for all of the capital improvements, basically?
Yes.
The renovation of this office? of
For the
this
city buildings, yeah.
City buildings, and you're also overseeing the building of the fire and police training center?
Correct.
Is there any other projects that you have that are large that are on the coming forward?
I'm looking to get boilers for City Hall. That's a big project. We're working on that right now. Some kitchens for the fire.
Those still haven't all been done?
No, those were passed. We're just now going through getting them going.
Let's hope the lamination doesn't fall apart.
Yeah, we hope so. We're finishing up one right now in the police locker room. We're finishing that up. And then blight office, we finished that up as well.
We're working on something on the
South building?
south building on the lower level.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
And these are projects that we're looking for, out the next 3 years.
Okay. Full renovation of Haskell Center.
Yes. The other centers, Brennan, Mays, have already been done. And McKinley.
Okay. Mr. Jarrett, would you like to start this time?
Good evening.
Hi.
Good evening, sir.
How you doing?
The summarized plan that we have here with the different buildings and all, I think I understand you to say they're happening over the next 3 years?
Yes.
Are any of these projects reflected in your appropriations here at all
For this year? you're
for
talking
this year?
about? Yeah, well, some of them we just went through that she was asking me about. Those are being done this year. South
Okay.
building, the police.
Yeah,
The
I guess I was,
kitchens.
I see the need. This is a nice summary and illustration of the different projects that are needed throughout some of the city's assets. I guess I'm trying to understand for the 26-27 fiscal year in this budget that's being proposed, sort of exactly which of these are going to be worked on through the year
So you're
and
talking about the
hopefully completed.
444 fund, correct?
I'm sorry?
You're talking about the 444 fund?
Well, I'm flipping through the packet
Yeah.
that, yeah,
The answer, yeah, he's talking about the 4-4 fund.
Okay, yeah, I don't know where it's coming from. I'm just trying to
Oh.
understand what I'm looking at in total.
Yeah, well, obviously, we can't do all this in a year, so we'll probably, picking some out of here. I mean, like the boilers are gonna be one. We have, elevator at Haskell, we got one. Fire station, we're gonna do probably the second floor. I mean, there's a few of them that we're gonna,
And is that all expected to be covered under this 501,000?
yes.
So this $500,000 is gonna cover everything?
No, not all of it.
The budget for the capital projects is actually in Fund 444.
Right.
At the bottom of your page there,
Okay,
you'll see there's 7,200,000.
Actually, I think he's got that, right?
so the $7,227,000 is what's being proposed
Right.
for building additions and improvements. And that's being, those funds we have saved for it, we've already set them aside
We have
somewhere?
we have a millage that is dedicated to capital improvements.
And how much is that millage projected to collect?
Do you have your budget book, Mr. Jarrett? Just curiosity.
No, I don't have it in front of me.
All right, I'll bring it over for you.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Okay. The taxes will yield roughly $2.5 million. We'll get state revenue of about $240,000, other revenue of about $190,000. And then there'll be a transfer in of $4.7 million roughly. That'll come from the general fund, which will, we're basically going to be using some of the ARPA dollars, we're proposing to use some of the ARPA dollars for the police and fire training center.
And that was part of the approval of those projects originally, or that's going to be an additional ask for ARPA?
That'll be an
support?
additional ask, yes.
So an additional ask of almost 4.7 million for these building additions and improvements?
Right.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Councilwoman Priestley.
I was looking at the 444 fund, and I know that after, excuse me, I know that after, and I don't have it in front of me now because I lent it to him, that we're not going to have much money in there after this year. That the fund balance is going down.
That's correct.
Okay, so,
We're forecasting having a $1 million fund balance at the end of the year.
okay, and we start the year off, thank you, with a 2.7.
Right.
But we do have a lot of projects that, we have an aging infrastructure and
Our thought was that, we had the tax to undertake these projects, and we ought to be building the projects that we had promised.
say that again, I couldn't understand.
We levied the tax with the promise that we're going to undertake capital projects of this sort, and that we should be spending the money to undertake the projects, and that's really what we promised.
Okay. Yeah. And we've been spending about what we're taking in every year, so obviously a lot of our buildings need a lot of help. So, so we have one custodial position open, is that correct?
No, it'd be a maintenance, senior building
maintenance.
maintainer.
Okay. Oh, the senior bait, that's open.
Yes, it's out right now.
Okay, it's open for right now.
Yep.
All right, otherwise, you have a full staff, and this budget covers everybody's wages?
Yes.
Okay. Is there did you budget for extra people, or is,
Nope, I think all we budgeted for, well, I think we did one extra, maintenance.
one extra maintenance? Okay. So, takes care of that, supplies, uniforms. Professional services, what kind of professional services do you use?
It would, the electrical, plumbing and heating,
Okay,
Yeah.
Goya, or whoever does it.
Walters.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Intercity.
Madam Priestley?
Go ahead.
Is it coincidence that that professional service is $501,700 and the maintenance is or is that what we're talking about here when we're looking at this cover page? That's the same $501,700 that you have here under 444 fund?
I guess I don't know what that is.
The handout that you gave us.
Oh,
Yeah, is that
yes.
the same $501,000?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I'm like, where are you seeing that? Yep.
No, feel free to interject anytime. That with such a few numbers, it seems to flow really well that way, or at least it has with Candace and I. So that makes sense because you have to hire all of the electricians and carpenters and stuff to go with some of the minor projects. And then we have repairs and maintenance at 201,000.
Yes, that would be, like if we have, something come up, water main break, something like that, we usually,
Internal,
yep.
okay. Okay, I have no other questions based on your budget. I wanted to make sure that we had, if the employees were budgeted appropriately, and what some of these other items were. The supplies, I know you have a lot of supplies, like for cleaning supplies and stuff, and our employees clean all of the centers?
Yes.
And all of the city buildings? Do we outsource any cleaning
Nope.
services?
Not as this
Do
point.
it all internally?
It's all
And-
internal now.
And we do that with 4 people?
Yep, actually, we got one at 12th Street, so it'll be 5. 12th Street pays for their own, but it's not out of my budget, but yeah.
Okay,
So there's actually 5.
okay. All right, so actually you have 8 employees.
Well, we'll have once I get that other position
Okay,
filled.
all right. All right. Jonathan, do you have any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Next is motor pool. All righty. So what can you tell us about you and your department?
Say that again, Judy, I wasn't paying any attention.
Is he talking in your ear?
No, he came and did something and turned the microphone on or off. I'm not sure. So I was not listening. What did you just say?
Go ahead and give us an overview of your area.
Overview. I am Marquita Blair, Fleet Manager for the City of Flint's Fleet Department. Currently, we are running about a little bit shy of 600 vehicles and pieces of equipment with tools. I've been speaking to my CFO because we are severely understaffed. We currently have 2 mechanics, an FM1 and an FM2. I have 1 fleet foreman. Today, I just had a service writer start. I got a coordinator transferred over to me, and it's me. That's it. That's running all of the vehicles and everything for the city of Flint. So hiring has been a really big challenge for us. It's just the industry at large in and of itself, as far as mechanics. But at this point, we're gonna need both with mechanics and with help with parts. As you all know, technology changes constantly, vehicles change constantly, and GM and all the other vendors, you know, they only will house parts for the same type of models for so long. So as we're purchasing, we're finding we need more parts, but we still have to stock the older parts, so it's all growing. We're constant growth.
And we're turning over our fleet to get newer vehicles so that we don't have that issue as much. And we don't have a diesel mechanic, right, on staff?
Yes.
Oh, we do? Oh.
Yes, both of them are diesel.
Oh, okay.
They're both diesel.
Then I don't know this stuff. All right. Mr. Jarrett?
The one point of clarity I would like to gain is the interdepartmental sales that's showing as $5 million revenue. Where does that come from? Us actually, go ahead.
When the department vehicles are used by any other department, we charge them rent for using that equipment. And that's how her department is funded and pays for all the equipment and pays for all her salaries. And it's a fairly complex formula, but it seems to work pretty well. And it's just basically the rent for the vehicles. And it's only internal.
So that's more of an internal bookkeeping type thing.
Yes.
Okay. So her department's cost of those vehicles, is that 2.6 down at the vehicle line, last line, next to last at the bottom? It shows vehicle 2.6 million for 26,
That's
27.
purchase, yes. That's
Yes.
being able to purchase a vehicle.
And this is what I talked about, I think it was a couple of sessions back, where we have an odd way that we budget in the city of Flint, in that the equipment shows up as an expense, we depreciate it as an expense, and if we have debt, we show that as an expense. And so we end up counting some of the capital items three times. When the books are closed, the vehicle expenditures actually become an asset or moved to the balance sheet. They're not part of the income statement.
Okay. I think
You want me to go ahead?
yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay. All right. So the gas, oil, and fuel, are those charged to the other departments as well?
No, that's mine.
So all the gas for the departments come through to you?
Because we have 7 fuel islands. So I pay for and cover all the fuel islands. Ours at 12th Street, this one, the 2 here for fire and police department, plus I have to do Atherton Road, fire department, Pasadena, up that way, and what's the other one? Western Road. Western Road has a fuel island.
Okay, so those aren't charged to the individual departments. You go ahead and keep those costs?
We pay for the fuel, gas, and all that
Okay.
up front, and then as we do monthly charges for the garage, that's how departments are billed. They're
Okay.
billed on use.
Okay, so it's the
usage.
overall
Yes.
cost. So it's included in you build that cost into it,
Yes.
but it comes out of your account. All right, and then is $750,000 adequate based on today's fuel prices?
Look, if it keeps going up higher, I'm gonna need some more money. $5 a gallon is not gonna be fun, and especially because diesel is gonna be even more. So if gas is $5, diesel's gonna be like $5.50. So
What-
I hope it doesn't increase.
What
And
did
that
you-
will affect the rent that we charge for the vehicles too.
It will. That's gonna make rent go up higher to
It's
compensate.
gonna cost the overall city, it's gonna cost more money because it's gonna be across the whole city,
Yes.
which is obvious. do you know at what, because this is up 75, well, not quite 75,000 from, from last year. Do you know what, like, dollar amount, did you calculate it based on a
We forecast it, yes.
forecast price?
Yes,
So we might have to add that to it.
yes.
Okay. What council will do, I don't know, but, you know. And then, the next line, supplies, is gone down $30,000. And that you feel is adequate? Because in '25, it was 270,000, and then it's budgeted for 196,000 for, you think that's adequate?
I had some one-time purchases in there that I won't have to
Okay.
make again.
Great, wonderful, great to hear, love to hear that. Professional services, are those outside mechanics?
No. Professional services for me, think about, like when the fuel pump broke. I had to call Oscar Larson to come out. We had to buy parts.
Okay.
Things like that. It's gonna be, let me see, what's another professional services? The air compressor. The air compressor went down. I have to call Ingersoll because I'm using a secondary right now. So Ingersoll has to come in and replace our main primary air compressor. For me, that's a professional service.
Okay, that makes total sense. And your computer software, and I'm going down line by line. I know that didn't we purchase a program to
Yes.
do asset management? Is this an annual licensing fee?
That's our license, that's for, I don't think we pay per person license, I think we're paying per person and not vehicle. Our last one, we were paying for per vehicle and it was costing us too much. This one is different, we're paying license fees for users.
Okay,
So the cost dropped, but we grew within our software because we also have Samsara. So that's tied into here too, which is that GPS tracking system that we have.
oh, okay.
Yes.
And I'm sure the residents would like to know, are appreciative of the fact that we have a GPS tracking, because we often hear about where vehicles are, that the residents don't feel that they should be somewhere. So that's good to know. I don't have a problem with the repairs and maintenance, because I know that you have things like this, the repairs and,
That's work orders. So
Yeah.
that's the physical work orders that the garage mechanics will charge to fleets as whatever repairs are needed. PMs, repairs themselves, accident damage, it all comes out of repairs and maintenance.
Okay.
So that's repairs and maintenance of all of our vehicles and equipment.
educational, training, and conferences.
That is, I bought J-Pro. We just got a new J-Pro diagnostic, and the guys have to be trained on
Okay.
that software. So,
So, will they be going to training, or is it coming here?
it's
Or is it
gonna
online?
be online. It's all module-based.
Phil, where are we putting depreciation now? Is it not, it's not under this budget? Because I don't see anything for 26 or 27.
I believe the decision was made, but we're counting equipment purchases and depreciation. We're just counting it too much. And I think it was, we'll move in depreciation and take the equipment and move it to the balance sheet.
Okay. What kind of vehicles are we expecting to purchase in the next year?
We're gonna replace 2 of the plow trucks, like the salt trucks, the Peterbilts. Those have aged out. That's gonna be another big ticket item, so I will be seeing you guys for that one.
Sure.
We have, let's see, big ticket planned for capital.
We've got 2.6 million for vehicles.
Vehicles is different. Vehicles are physical, like,
Oh, 2 million for equipment,
it's gonna
and
be,
then
equipment would be
2.6.
your big ticket, your construction equipment, and then cars or SUVs, Tahoes will be vehicle. So those,
Okay,
we
that's good to
separate
know.
them.
That's good to know.
So I know for a fact Chief Wiggins wants a smaller fire truck. So, like, sometimes there've been, for instance, we had a fire at the railroad track over here on Saginaw Street. If you've ever paid attention, that's by the trestle.
Yeah.
They can't get a fire truck up there. It was heck for them to try to get in that area space. So we are looking to probably get him a smaller fire truck. One is maybe on like a Ford 650 chassis. I know for a fact that the police department wants to replace that MRAP over there that we have from the National Guard, because we really can't use it. It doesn't fit down our city streets. So that's an armored vehicle that I might have to purchase. That's another $500,000 vehicle regardless. And I know they want to get rid of that sooner than later. So if we decide to do that in fiscal 27 coming up, that's going to be another big ticket item.
Okay. All right, thank you. Do you have any other questions, Jonathan?
No.
Thank you, Blair.
Oh, you're welcome.
Assessor Stacy.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I don't have a presentation. Everything is pretty much staying the same. Little increases just due to inflation that's going on, and that's about it.
How many
Everything.
staff do you have?
I currently have 9 employees. I have 1 intern and then 1 vacancy.
And the 9 staff, are they all assessors? How many assessors or assistant assessors do we have, or are you it?
Well, technically, there's only 1 assessor that signs the roll. I have 1 deputy, and then I have an assessment manager that I just created for Jennifer. So she helps between me and Teresa, helps manage the staff, and she's doing an amazing job.
Great.
She's taking the reins and running with it. And then I have Jackie, who's over the clerical staff, which is 1 person, and then the intern also helps with clerical staff, and then I have my 4 appraisers,
Okay.
and then the 1 vacancy with that.
Okay, go ahead, Jonathan. You're up.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The projected $100,000 increase in the revenue with the property transfer affidavit fee, what is that sort of based on?
So they changed the law last year for property transfer affidavit fees. We used to bill them out through an invoice. Now they are allowed to go directly onto the tax bill. So once BSNA gets it all set up, Amanda and I will be putting them directly onto the winter tax bill. So that's easier for us to collect, and then they also will we believe, get paid out by the county. So it's gonna be easier for us to collect on those instead of chasing down the miscellaneous receivables.
So
Do you wanna know what a property transfer affidavit is?
yeah, maybe, yeah, help me with that, because
By law, when you purchase a home in the state of Michigan, you're required within 45 days to file a property transfer affidavit with us. You have, after that 45 days is passed, if it's a principal residence, the fee is $5 a day up to $200. But the law just changed. If it is not, let's say it's a rental property, it will go up to $4,000. If it's a commercial, it'll go up to $1,000. So if those are not filed, there is a fee attached to those that you're required to pay us.
and that's not collected in closing costs.
Correct, because you have to file it after closing. So it's something, once you close, you're required to file that with us within 45 days, so that way we know there's some types of transaction that has occurred.
And what's the base fee? The $5 is the daily penalty?
Yep, $5
Okay,
a day
what's
after
the-
45 days.
What's the base fee, is that based on purchase price, or is it a
No,
flat
that flat-
$50 or?
Flat fee, $5 a day. So principal resident, it'll stop at 200. If it's a non-principal resident, so say a rental property, it'll go up to 4,000. Or a commercial property, it'll go up to $1,000.
So if I come in day 46, I only pay one $5 fee?
Correct.
Okay. So again, this $100,000 increase is us thinking we're gonna be collecting penalties, basically.
And that is a light estimate, because we bill out, what is it, probably 30,000 a year? About 30,000 a year.
Do we actually collect it?
Yeah, we collect some of it, a decent amount, but with it going on tax bills, we're hoping that we're gonna collect a lot more of it, with people paying it on their taxes.
So
Because
that,
they're not gonna ignore the invoice and just throw it away.
Right.
Because it's right there on their taxes.
so it's potentially a $200 residential owner occupied, and it's potentially up to a $4,000
Right, correct.
rental. Okay. I think that was the one thing that jumped out at me. The other things seem to be sort of consistent with what they
Absolutely.
were last year,
I
as I
agree.
see it.
I agree 100%. Stacy, you look, all your wages and all your employees are accounted for in this. What we're finding as we're going through this is that the departments haven't necessarily budgeted for all their employees.
Oh, no, I make sure mine are all taken care of.
Okay, great.
So even the space, the opening that you have is accounted for already in this projected budget?
Absolutely, plus any increases I have a couple that are going for their certifications. That one test for her final certification for an MCAO. So any adjustments and increases that they're gonna get because of those are already in my budget as well. So I just make sure those increases are taken care of as well.
So that you just stated that, I'm gaining the understanding that each of you and the others that are coming forward proposed what we're seeing here. Okay.
Yes.
That's good.
I don't know, I know I handle my own budget.
Okay. Is that the case with the majority that are going to be before us tonight, Mr. Moore?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Okay, good, thank you.
Okay, if you have no further questions, I have no further questions. Enjoy your evenings.
I do have one comment.
Yes.
One thing you should know, our assessor is very well thought out throughout the state. She trains a lot of the assessors elsewhere. And I believe she got a certification showing
I did.
for her
Just got another new.
teaching abilities for,
Congratulations,
Thank
Stacy.
you.
We're lucky to have you.
Thanks.
All right, problem child. Amanda, just give us a brief overview of all that your department does.
Okay. Good evening. Customer service is responsible for billing of water and sewer bills. We also collect different receivables that are due to the city. We do collect property taxes, personal property taxes, income taxes, and like I said, any miscellaneous receivables like the property transfer affidavit fees, things like that. So, in a
And the
nutshell,
blank
that's what we
tickets?
do.
So on the, I'm gonna just do a real quick, and you also are in charge of all the investing of the money, correct?
Yes, but that's something that, like I said, like Phil said, that it's going to change so that way it's not just me deciding what's happening, that there's going to be a group.
Okay, and we updated our investment policy 3 years ago?
Yes.
Okay, and it had been quite a while since we invested, and
Yeah.
so there'll be another update
Yes,
soon.
correct.
Okay. Go ahead, Jonathan, if you'd like to start.
I asked the question in the previous hearing about collections. And it was shared that some of that takes place with your department,
Yes.
and sometimes you have to, or you do employ the services of collection agencies.
Correct.
To collect. Where would those funds that are collected from agencies be reflected on this budget?
Well, they take out whatever they collect, they take the 25%, I believe it is, out. So it's not reflected in here.
Okay,
So, and then that money goes into 591
okay.
fund.
How do we, how do we track and/or see how much has been sent to collections to be able to identify how much we potentially have outstanding?
They sent me that question, and I forgot to print that out, because I know they sent me something. But I get a check every month from them. It's mainly water and sewer. There's some very old income tax ones that they have, but we do get a list of everything that they have collected and who they have collected from, and we do keep a spreadsheet on that. And like I said, we get a check every month from that. But I did send an email to them, so that way I could get everything through March of '26, and I didn't bring it, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Forgot about that.
Mr. Moore, is that that type of number, where do I find that in any of these packets?
You're talking about the collection fee?
Yeah, the collection, how much we've revenue generated through collections.
That's not a separate line item, but we can pull the cost for that and let you know.
I don't believe that was something I had already asked, right?
I mean, because I guess I want to see and make sure that we can try to identify what we actually are capturing, because there's a lot of discussion around, we write a ticket or whatever, and some people's attitude is, catch me if you can, so to speak.
Right. And they
I just really am trying to identify how much is still owed us.
Yes, I will
In
get
services.
that for you. Like I said,
I'm
I
gonna put-
apologize for that.
How much is outstanding? Did I ask that already? Did that
I
get-
believe you did, because I know.
I thought I did.
In 1 year, and I'm trying to remember if it was in '24 or '25, we sent like 7 million out.
Right, I remember that.
And then I believe last year was right around 5 million that went out in '25 to the collection agency. And I know, and I can't remember the time frame, but, because I did it for the auditors, there was a 12-month period that I ran totals for them, and it was like 197,000 that had been collected. That was it, yes. And that's normal.
But is that net collected, or is that after their fee, or is that?
After their fee, yes.
Okay.
See, because, as I look at this, as I look at the revenues and, we're saying estimated revenue, 618,000. Is there a portion of that realistically we're not gonna collect? Or is this 618,000 estimated revenue a number that
I think that the biggest thing is the fees for the customer services. That's things like the credit card fees and,
Yes.
okay, so that's not necessarily part of the collection process. It's just additional fees that they charge.
that's nothing that will fall into a collections type situation?
Correct.
Okay.
So because I think we're charged 2.8% on credit card, or is it 2.9?
That's, I think that's very close, but there's lots of different things, like the Google Pay is different than the MasterCard, so.
Yeah, so, but we charge what, 2.9 or 3%
For the credit cards?
for credit card use?
Yeah,
Or-
3%. It's just it's gonna change if we go to BSA, right? Yeah.
But
when
we'll
we-
be changing next year,
Yeah,
because as part of our upgrade to the
Online
BSNA,
BSNA.
we have to change to their credit card processing, which from everyone that we've talked to, it sounds like it's a much better service.
Yeah, you and I had talked about that in one of our
Yeah.
meetings, you and me and Paul, so, yep. Okay, go ahead, sorry. I just wanted to clarify that for you.
And are you're fully staffed in your area?
I've got a couple openings right now because I've had some people that got promoted up.
Oh,
So,
okay.
and then I have a couple that are on
Congratulations.
sick leave right now. But other than that, no, I'm just trying to keep afloat with, the changing of the, of staff, so.
So do your projection here for wages represent a fully staffed department or?
Yes.
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 Okay. And then, I'll yield there and let,
Okay. On our professional services, what does that cover for you? Because I know each department does a little bit different.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering it's up like 500,000, close
Yeah,
to
that's-
500,000.
Yeah, that professional services for when the state of Michigan will take over the income tax process beginning in January.
Okay, great. And I anticipate a large influx of
Yes.
that, especially since TurboTax does not allow you to file City of Flint, but they do
Right.
Detroit. And they do
Yes.
Detroit because Detroit is collected by the state.
Right. And this-
Tax Act allows me to file.
Yes, I mean, I think it's gonna be a really prosperous for us to switch over, for them to take over, because they have a lot of things that we don't have, and they have that, they have the pull of the state, where we don't.
So, Mr. Moore, if I remember correctly, we ran a test run for 2022, and it was an increase of $2 million. Is that correct?
That was the estimate. Well, I don't think we've collected 2 million.
That was a test run as to versus what we
Right.
collected and what was filed and what should have been
Oh,
filed.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was gonna be like 2 million the first year alone.
Yeah. Okay. And then postage is going down. Why?
I asked that question earlier. Because it's sure not going down.
No. Are you
Well-
reducing your mailing?
Well, no, we have increased, but the good thing is so that we have increased the number of paperless bills that are going out. So we are up to, I think, 15,000, so that's pretty much half
Okay.
of all the bills, so that is helpful. But if the cost of postage keeps going up, like they keep saying it will, then, I might be coming to you guys to get an increase.
But right now, that might be adequate because of the increase in the paperless bills. Like,
Yes.
I've gone paperless, so,
Yes.
okay. Where are we at? Copying. Cash shortages and excesses, $7,000 seems to be high.
And my people aren't doing that. I don't know if that was something else too, that you guys were adding for cash shortages and excesses, because I know that something else gets put on there. It's not just like my tellers being short.
It was reconciliations.
It's a
Oh, reconciliation.
There were a bunch of reconciliations there. It's made it anomalous.
Okay, it's minor for reconciliation purposes, but for cash shortages, I understand, that's probably where I would have put it too. Now, when we go to the state collection, we have a contract with a company, correct, that does our income tax processing?
Right now, yes.
And when does that contract end?
Well, actually, it ends June 30th.
This year?
Of this year, yes. And so we're going to have another contract because we'll still need their system, because we're still going to be liable to collect from 25 and prior.
Okay,
So we'll need it for at least, 6 years.
all right, so, but it won't be as much.
Right, correct.
And do they do our utility bills as well, or do we do that ourselves?
We do
mean
that
the-
internally.
Pardon?
Yeah.
We do that internally.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I was thinking that they did income tax and utility bills, so.
Yeah, no.
I absolutely can be wrong. I always am wrong, so. All right, do you have any other questions, Mr. Jarrett? Okay. The big question is how much, I'm gonna request is how much is outstanding at the collection
Yep,
agency.
I will get that. I believe I have that email, and I just didn't print it out. I'm sorry.
All right, if you get it again and you've already replied to it.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Next up. You want, Phil, let's put, you want to go last?
No, it-
Because you got to
Yeah,
sit here and
that's
let,
fine.
and let Lauren go, and then she
Yeah,
can.
that's fine.
Hey, I'm the one who suggested it.
Do I need to do a little, you need to know, I buy all the things.
Buy all the
That's what we
things.
do. Buy all the things, make sure everyone is in compliance with the way that everything has to be purchased, based on what it is, how much it is. It's myself and one chief buyer in our division. We're in charge of all of the competitive bid processes, from putting them together, working with the departments, opening the bids, doing the tabulations, ensuring the awards are compliant. We work with legal, we work with pretty much all the departments in the city, so.
So you've got 2 staff,
Yes, myself and a chief buyer,
and you have no clerical staff, just the 2 of you?
just the 2 of us,
Okay.
correct?
All right. Any questions, Mr. Jarrett?
Not to this appropriations budget, no.
Yep, and that's a big thing. And you have a very simple budget too?
Yeah.
Go home.
Okay.
Go to your kid.
If you say so. Thank you.
Just to let you know, she's one of our all-stars. She does a great job with what she does.
I think that I think that her staff, when they worked on, her and her staff, when we went through the auditing, RFP was stellar in evaluating and going through those budgets, those responses, so that we could choose the one that most closely fit what we needed. Yep, appreciate that.
One of the easier ones. They get more complicated.
Right, but it was very, it did come down to the anticipated costs. Yep, 100%. All right, we'll do the IT.
Yeah.
And you're right now in the middle of changing all the city phones.
Yeah, and everything else.
All right. Let me answer this call as Candace. Go ahead, Jonathan.
So I'm led to understand that for you, under revenue charges for services rendered, is that same internal accounting process
Absolutely, yes.
as was before? Okay, so I guess for me, what communications at like $1 million, what does that mean or look like?
That's everything to do with communicating with anybody. So that's the fiber connection for internet access, that's the cell phones, that's buying the cell phones, that's buying the new phone system, that's everything.
Okay.
So,
Okay. And then the increase in the software, computer software from 24-25 to 25-26 was was over 600,000. Was that result of us needing to change things with some of the?
There have been a number of things that caused that. You know, part of it's the upgrade for BSNA, but if you remember last year, we also upgraded the Tyler Technologies for the police department. That was done after the hack. We've also have UNIF, which is the grant management software. We have
So basically, it was upgrades that were needed, and this is now the new
Yes.
normal at $1 million.
Everything is going towards the computerization, and the city of Flint's no different.
Thank you. I yield.
Okay, are you fully staffed?
Yes.
And the budget reflects the fully staffed?
Yes, I
with no
believe it does.
vacancies?
Yeah, I think there's one position that's gonna be, at some point, that person's gonna leave and we're gonna put a new person in there.
But it's
It'll be a
budgeted
push.
for.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. He asked a question about that. Professional services, what do you use for that? Because like I said, every other, it's 350,000. It's gone down from fiscal year 25. It was 552, 776. The current fiscal year, it's 355,000, and then it goes going down to 350.
I think what you saw in the 25 budget was the aftermath of the hack. We hired a number of companies that assisted us afterwards to make sure that things were safe.
Okay. All right. You don't do a lot of post mailings. So you've only got $8 for mileage reimbursement, and I'm assuming you guys drive around.
Yeah, I'm actually working with Blair on that because we weren't driving around nearly as much, and then we seem like we've doubled our sites in the last year. You know, we've opened up 3 community centers, and all of a sudden we have to go all these other places, so I believe Blair's getting us a truck, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that'll be an intercity thingy. That doesn't need to be reflected necessarily here.
Yeah, so.
Okay. 40, so last year, or the current fiscal year, you have 10,000 in repairs and maintenance, and for next fiscal year, you've got 40,000.
Yeah, most of that's just because I've got a lot of new, fresh staff, so they're going out and fixing more stuff.
Okay. And equipment, that doesn't include, so you've got the costs of all the cell phones and all that stuff is under your communications budget?
Yeah, typically, yes.
And then, so the equipment that we have, for 350,000, is that new laptops, desktops?
It could be, yeah, it could be,
Anything
it could be
like
the new desk phones. There's a lot of times when you do like the new phone system, the professional services part will be 200K and the equipment will be 50, 60K, and so it has to be split up,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. That's my questions. Do you have anything, Jonathan?
No.
Go home.
All right.
Thank you. Very easy. Now we got the finance. And Candace is on her way. She's gonna have more. She had a community meeting and had to leave. She didn't want to, but people didn't show up that said they were going to.
I understand.
So she felt she had to go, and now she's on her way back. All righty. What kind of fees do you charge? There's $960 there. Finance, there's fees.
I have no idea.
Paul, do you know? Paul, why don't you grab the mic so that you have it?
Yeah, no, it's most likely something,
Looks like garnishment.
Garnishment fees.
Oh! Got it.
All right.
Those are what, $1, $3, $5?
Well, 35 here and there.
Okay. Because every time you garnish it, you gotta keep a fee.
Yeah.
Yep. And reimbursements. Do we know what that is?
There's not a lot.
No, it's not. It's only 10,000 for next year, 25 for this year.
I don't have any idea.
It's hard to tell from the information we have.
Denial interest payment to the city.
It's minor dollar.
It was like an interest payment that they changed their mind on.
Okay, so let's talk about your employees. How many employees do you have?
The budget includes 13 positions, and we currently have 11. We have one vacancy, and we're looking to add a risk manager.
One vacancy?
The risk manager would take care of all the insurance. We also really don't have anybody that makes sure that all our crews wear things like hard tack and steel-toed boots. We don't have anybody that reviews all the any accidents, any workers' comp claims. And it'd be good to have somebody whose job it was to review all that. Would probably save money if we could get all our employees to follow all the best practices in safety.
Well, we've already seen where insurance
Yeah,
was an issue.
we also need to have someone to look at our city's properties, make sure they're properly secured. There's no end of things that somebody could do to improve the safety of our facilities and our operations.
I know that the city, for example, the city owns a house on the east side on Reisdorf, and it was being used as a drug house,
Yeah.
a chop shop, and the police actually just broke out every window so that they couldn't go back in that property.
But having somebody on staff whose job it was is to look after city property and
Yeah.
city operations would more than pay for itself.
Yep, I agree. So, and the wages are for all 13, the 13 include the risk manager, or is that?
That
and the-
includes the risk manager, yes.
Okay, so you've got,
Yeah.
all 13 are accounted for in the budget.
Right, and the request didn't originate with the finance department, but rather with some of the other departments saying we need to have a risk manager that can do these things.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Jonathan.
That was really the big question I had as well coming out of this. Contributions to DDA. What,
Why?
yeah, what is that and why is it?
The
longer.
decision was made to contribute some money a year ago to the DDA for all the right reasons.
Okay,
The
so.
Downtown Development Authority.
Okay, because DDA also,
Right.
in certain terms, mean checking account, but go
Right.
ahead.
The budget was carried over from last year's budget, was carbon copy from prior year. We have not spent that $300,000 to the DDA this year, and we're not requesting money for next year.
Okay.
Why were we, I don't remember if council voted on that,
I'm on the wrong page.
giving, money to the DDA?
The DDA was having some financial difficulties. They made a plea to the city to assist them. We did.
As
It was a
component
one-time
unit.
shot. But then when we approved the budget last year, we used the 24 budget or the 25 budget for 26. And we did not send them a second
Okay,
payment, but that's still in our budget.
okay, and we have to approve we have to have their budget included in our budget, so we're gonna have that on the 13th, right?
That's correct. They will be presenting that.
Okay, we're gonna have a special council meeting, Jonathan, on the 13th to do additional budget work. Go ahead. Were you done on yours? Okay. So, professional services, how much, now, the state has assisted us in the past in working on our fixed assets, and then Raymond has assisted us.
They haven't assisted us in recent years. We have hired some of the help ourselves. We've also have other charges such as like, we've hired a firm to determine the property values of every parcel that we own so that we can get insurance for the property.
And-
We've hired actuaries to help with the GASB 101 implementation. There are a number of different things that we charge that service, and it's an essential part of what we do.
And your budget got charged for all the extra things that Raymond did in preparation for the budget?
Yes.
Got it.
And also,
Or
to
not
be
the budget, the audit.
quite honest, is that I sometimes pay things out of the finance budget when there's bickering between departments. It's easier.
I get that. Okay. Postage out of the finance department, 7,500. I mean, I know that this is immaterial amounts, but it's stuff we look at, right? And that's one of the reasons why I appreciate the detailed budget, so that we get more information.
Yep.
But you guys have $7,500 in postage fees?
Yeah, that actually kind of surprised me, but I'm sure we do. I'm sure it's probably for when we mail checks out.
Okay.
Although we do more the ACHs all the time.
Right. Oh, that's true, that's true. You got 10,000 for education, training, and conference. If we're going to, is that included in the new BSNA software, is additional training and that's required?
We did include that with the BSNA, although this would be training our staff. I know that we have a couple of people want to go to the GFOA conference in Chicago. That's excellent training, and you can't get training like that anywhere else. We've had.
What is that conference?
I think it's around July 1st.
No, what is it?
Oh, the Government Finance Officers Association, and it's excellent training.
Well, it's hard to get government even accounting classes, as we've discussed in the past. Okay. All right. Candace, do you want to, are you ready to ask questions? Pardon? Okay. I guess we're done. Do you have any other questions for Mr. Moore while he is here? It was pretty simple, pretty easy. So I wait for Candace to go through the hearing. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll respond to whatever questions you have.
Yep, and I'll send this out then, after she gets me any questions or lets me know, then I'll send out the final. You've gotten 2 letters from me so far?
Yeah, you have 2. One, I've
2 or 3.
I've sent everything to Clyde. The second one I got this morning. The first question was really easy, and the second one will be a little bit of work. We're not through that yet, but.
Okay, all right, and then, so our next budget meeting will be on the 13th. That will be a special meeting where we will be discussing additional, hopefully the rest of the council will be here and they can ask some of their questions. We'll have department heads here. This is the time to do a lot of the work that we are asking about. It's a shame that our council members aren't able to come to these meetings. That's why I schedule them for the same day as a regular council meeting on Mondays and Wednesdays, so that it's not an unusual day, but I do understand that some people make plans in advance for these weekends.
Just to let you know, as part of that, we'll be talking about the Headley. Well, it looks like we're going to have another Headley rollback this year, a very small one.
Okay.
But we'll have to talk about that as well.
Yeah, okay, that's good to know. Do we know how much? We don't know how much that's.
Well,
what was it, 100 grand last time?
Stacy's and the county are going over that right now. They're both very, very close, but When you get to the fourth decimal point, they disagree. So, well,
Round, only need to round to the nearest penny.
yeah, but they'll have it nailed down on a couple, I suspect tomorrow.
Okay,
Uh,
great.
But, it's really very small.
All righty, well, thank you very much, and we're adjourned.
She was probably gonna take a bubble bath and enjoy